here as things are wrapping up with the setup here on Thursday night inside the Exposition Center at the New York State Fairgrounds in Syracuse. You read and go online to find out what's going on in racing. You might not know this guy's face, but you have read his stuff. Lenny Sammons, of course, editor with Area Auto Racing News, promoter, Indoor Racing Series. Man, we got a lot to talk about. First of all, how are you?
I'm doing fine. A little tired. Just drove up from Trenton, New Jersey area.
How long does that take?
About 4 hours with traffic, a little bit more on the nighttime coming up here through Philadelphia traffic. But
okay.
We're here, we're set up, we're ready to go.
And of course, no weather to worry about this year. No snow, no storms, no ice,
this is
nothing.
Beautiful. It's been cold last weekend at the races. I attended BAP's Speedway over there by Harrisburg and then Orange County on Saturday. Both a little chilly, but at least they got them in. There was no rain.
What should we be reading about this week? What are the hot stories in this week's edition of Area Auto Racing News?
Well, there was a lot going on Saturday at BAP's. Danny Dietrich pulled off a late race pass, $25,000 win.
Wow.
Really good race over Troy Wegeman Jr., who ended up third. And young Aaron Bollinger came from 16th to second right at the end. 25-lap race. It was pretty good, really pretty good sprint car show. End of the season for them.
Lots of stories to follow this year. What's the latest on Orange County and 5 Mile Point?
Well, 5 Mile Point is done now, unfortunately. They've run their last race. Orange County is still under speculation. What we wrote this week, some of the drivers' feelings about certainly Stuart Friesen possibly winning the last race ever there, and that's a strong possibility. We don't know yet. None of the principals were there to be talked to, so we're going to have to wait and see. What
is the possible ramifications? Because there's a lot of teams that base themselves out of there, and a lot of well-funded teams at that. How much do you think that will affect the total scene?
Well, you have two car builders right in that area, T.O. and Higfab. Jerry Higbee, in a story that I did with him, retired in that race. He ran against his son that day. And he didn't run the Eastern State 200. He has been cutting back, focusing on his son instead. But, he's went to high school right across the street. You could see the high school from the racetrack.
Really?
Grew up in the area. And it's a hard hit. His father owned cars. It's been going there for 50 years that he's been born or whatever, and more than that. And they have cars that race elsewhere, obviously, in New Jersey and also strongly on the southern tier. But it's going to put a cut in some people's income, that's for sure. And a lot of drivers are just probably going to sell out.
Yeah.
Others maybe will go elsewhere. Accord would be a beneficiary. Maybe Albany, Saratoga on Friday night. Come down, race at New Egypt, Grandview, something like that. Some of the southern tier cars have gone out this year and found other homes, but others just sold out too.
Okay. So what's the reason you come to this show primarily? Is it to meet the readers? Is it to increase the awareness of what you're doing? What is the biggest benefit you get from this Northeast Racers Auction and Trade Show?
We've been coming here since the beginning of the Parts Peddler Show at the old building,
Corky
Stockholm. And it's always a great way to sell subscriptions, certainly in the offices, get the paper out in front of people that might haven't seen it in a while, and promote our own motorsports show coming up, Indoor Auto Racing, and go to the Dirt Car Banquet on Saturday night. So
always fun.
It's a win-win all the way.
Of course, the motorsports this year, January 19th and 20th, as usual at the Greater Philadelphia Expo Center in Oaks, Pennsylvania. What are the highlights as we sit and look at it now?
Well, the show's coming along really good. This is the time of the year things start to skyrocket a little bit. Last year we did a special tribute for Billy Pouch in his retirement that went over extremely well. We had 13 or 14 of different cars he raced over the years. He signed autographs. We do a picture wall that's 40 foot long. This year it's going to be car owner Bob Waker. Waker Livestock Specials were iconic with Doug Wolfgang and Bobby Davis Jr. and you name it, and they drove it over the years. Keith Kaufman, just to name a few. Many of those drivers are going to be coming to the show. We've got 13 of the sprint cars, and one they own a modified. Kenny Weld drove for many years. Unfortunately, Kenny's passed, and we would surely be able to get him to come along. And they still they own the car they sponsor the car that Danny Dietrich drives that won the BAP's Closer. So Danny will be there with the most current Riker Livestock Special. His son Todd and Ike now keep very active in racing. So we're really looking forward to that. And we've got a lot of other things we haven't announced yet. But it's 100 or 200,000 square feet. It's a big building, not about race cars, about 200 cars on display.
Indoor Auto Racing Series begins soon. When's the first race?
First week in January at the PPL Center in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Should be very interesting. Max McLaughlin's coming back to run with us again this year with a Caprera car. We've got all of our mainstay guys. Unfortunately, we don't get to run in this building until they solve their issues here with their electrical short. Guys love racing here, but the last time they put on quite the show. But Ryan Bartlett from this area, Andy Jankowiak, and then all those guys, they put on just an outstanding show. About 2 years ago, we figured out how to really make an outside lane, and now for the last season and a half, they've all been, even the leaders start on the outside.
Really?
It's made the racing so superior, better. A race in Atlantic City follows it, the Gamblers Castle. The end of January, the motorsport shows in between. And then the week after Daytona, we do a dirt race in Trenton, New Jersey with the 600 micro springs.
Nice.
And we can only take 95 entries. They're booked in advance.
So
last year's race was incredible. The last 34 laps of the 50-lap race went nonstop. And Steve Buckler spun around early, came back and won the race over Billy Pouch and a young girl, Christiana Di Ponte, who was in the D main, the C main to the B main, and then drove from 22nd, was second on the last lap.
Wow.
Billy Pouch Jr. passed her, and she was going for the lead. So it's a growing event, big crowds, nothing like our Atlantic City race, but it's only 4 years old too. The Atlantic City race has been around for 26 years.
Special subscription rates at this show this weekend, and of course, IndoorAutoRacing.com.
Yes,
the website.
IndoorAutoRacing.com. You can get your hookup for tickets, hotel rooms. The Atlantic City race is a major league party.
Yeah.
Afterwards, all the casinos never close.
Yeah, they do that, don't they? They stay open
the bars
late,
never
don't they?
close in Atlantic City. The party never stops. A tradition the last probably 6 or 7 years. The winner brings the big trophy to Wild Wild West.
Oh, nice.
And they have a band, a major league band that plays till 3 o'clock, and then a DJ takes you to 5. So we often see the sun come up in Atlantic City on Sunday morning.
AARN.com is how you can get the online subscription. I prefer the print views, and you and I have talked about that, but I know a lot of you like to get it a little quicker. So always good to see you, Lenny. I'll make sure I check with you. I look forward to watching the banquet with you and Sue on Saturday night.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Appreciate your time. Hit the subscribe, like, leave a comment. It is here. The Northeast Racers Auction and Trade Show this weekend. It's the Exposition Center at the New York State Fairgrounds in Syracuse.